My political panel joins me next. Gina Loudon with the Trump 2020 Campaign Media Advisory Board and Democratic strategist Al Mottur joins me now. Gina, Bank of America seemed to change course. What is the reason for this changing of their mind?
Yeah, smart decision, because, we all believe in the First Amendment right for businesses to operate as they want, but it's different when you have depositors that you are responsible for who could change an entire, those decisions could change an entire industry because Bank of America is so big and influential.
Al, I want to ask you, about 70% of American citizens believe that there should be some type of ban on semi-automatic weapons. I'm a gun owner from the state of Texas. I always put that out there because I'm very pro-gun. I'm very pro-Second Amendment. I just think you should not own semi-automatic weapons under any circumstance. Why is gun reform so hard? It seems like both sides agree there should be some type of gun reform, especially when it comes to the mentally handicapped should not be able to buy weapons. There's a little bit of disagreement when you get all as far as semi-automatic weapons. Why is it so hard to get gun reform in this country?
Because of the elephant in the room, which is the NRA. And it's as simple as that. And the NRA will not allow the members that depend on its financial support to vote for the type of sensible restrictions that you just outlined. Most Americans believe in the Second Amendment. A lot of those people have fired guns, myself included, but also believe we shouldn't have semi-automatic machine gun style weapons on our streets. It's not that complicated, but the NRA's hold over Congress makes it impossible to fix.
To another gun-related story, the National Rifle Association, which, by the way, Oliver North just became the president of, is calling for a boycott of a Dallas diner after the restaurant added a message to customers' receipts saying, quote, "A portion of this week's proceeds will be donated to organizations dedicated to implementing reasonable and effective gun regulations." The diner doing it while the NRA was in town holding a convention. Gina, this seems to me to be one of the dumbest political moves, or business moves, I've heard. No matter what you say about something as polarizing as guns, 50% of the country is going to disagree with you. It just seems stupid for a diner or anybody else to get involved in politics if you want to have a booming business. Am I wrong with this, that people now are starting to use their business to further political means and it cuts off half the country from them?
I don't know, John. Here you and I are talking about some place called Ellen's that none of us ever heard of before, so I'm not sure it's so dumb.
Good
But,
point.
I am not an NRA member, but I am an absolute purist in terms of our First Amendment our Second Amendment shall not be infringed. It's his free right. That's the beauty of the First Amendment, to do what he did, and it's the free right of the free market citizens of the United States to act upon it. It's what's beautiful about America, no matter which side of that argument you're on.
Also happening while the NRA was in Dallas, actress Alyssa Milano speaking at an anti-gun rally this weekend and called out for having armed security guards protecting her. Watching as the guards are confronted.
I'm gonna ask you to leave.
Alyssa, you're a hypocrite.
But you are armed.
You have armed security here.
Milano responding, tweeting in part, quote, "This was event security, not my bodyguard. But regardless, this security guy has had training and passed a background check." Al, look, this is like going after Al Gore when he's flying around in a G4, G5, and he's talking about climate change and burning too much fossil fuels. It seems to me to be somewhat hypocritical when you're sitting there being guarded by armed people. I know they're trained, I know all that, but and you're anti-gun. Is that right?
Well, I mean, if Alyssa Milano fears for her safety, I'd rather her have a trained person with a gun than her with a gun. I don't know what her training is, number one. Number two, it's not so simple. It's more complex. She's not saying let's get rid of all guns. If she were, she'd be a hypocrite. That's not what she's saying. Nor am I, nor are you.
No, she's saying just get rid of the guns that she doesn't approve of. And she's a woman. She could easily be trained herself.
As our host said, 70% of Americans believe we shouldn't have semi-automatic weapons on the streets. That guy didn't have one, neither did she, neither should you or I. And that's where we need to go as a country.
But that's not constitutional.
That is not true. I don't know.
That is true. Which shall not be infringed is pretty clear. This is the same hypocrisy, John, we've seen over and over from those on the left. They're the ones who said, remember, we have to accept the election results until the election results were that Trump was elected. They said Russia wasn't a threat. Remember that?
There's nothing hypocritical about sensible, common sense gun control. Nothing. And it's not unconstitutional. We have restrictions now.
Common sense gun control to anti-gun activists like you means that I can't own a gun. You even just said that
I am not an anti-gun activist.
You feel better about her having having a male security guard there guarding her than her being trained herself.
You can yell over me
That's
if you
ridiculous.
wish,
That is
but
so
that's not
sexist.
what's
I can't
going
even
on.
believe it came out of your mouth.
Imagine that. People disagreeing on gun control and gun reform. You know, when you talk at the same time, it actually saves time. Nobody can hear you, but it actually saves a lot of time. Gina, now, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys very much for joining me.
Thanks for being with
Thanks, John. Thanks,
Take
Al.
care.